Hello everyone. In this unit called Gastronomical Trends, we will be looking at various factors that have an impact on our gastronomy. We will be looking at trends driven by the COVID-19 pandemic. We will be looking at micro trends, the origin of food, gastronomical influences, and food allergies. Our learning objectives are to analyze the influences and contributions to the current gastronomic practices and culinary perceptions, and to assess the impact of influences on consumer trends in the hospitality industry. The first topic that we will look at is trends driven by the COVID pandemic. The COVID-19 outbreak occurs at a time when food security, which is the primary cause of famine and hunger, was already in threat. We had issues related to conflicts, natural catastrophes, climate change, the spread of pests and illnesses across continents, and the COVID-19 pandemic is not expected to go away in the near future. The COVID-19 problem is now exposing flaws in our food system that have already been there for quite some time. It has imposed shocks on all sectors of the food supply, in food production, in food processing, in food transportation, in logistics, and demand, all at the same time. So not all industries and goods have been equally impacted, and different items have faced interruption of various points throughout the supply chain. Now we can see on this diagram here that consumers have certain concerns regarding their lives at this moment in time. People are in general starting to have concerns about the environment. They are starting to have concerns about security of food. They have concern about economic issues, issues regarding migration, issues regarding about gender equality. So you can see that it is not just one concern. They've got multiple of concerns. Consumers are also very concerned about issues regarding food waste. So there is an increase in trying to find ways to reduce food waste, to prevent food waste, to reduce food packaging, to reduce pollution on different levels, to address issues regarding global warming, ocean pollution, so that we can see now that consumers are much more sensitive towards the environment and what is happening on a global sense, as well as in comparison to how they were before. We can see here an example of food application which encourages the reduction in food waste. We dream of a planet with no food waste, and every day we're working on making that a reality. Our app is the most direct way for you to get involved. Just download and log on and get saving perfectly good surplus food from your local stores. It's always a surprise and a great price and an instant good deed for the planet. There are a number of food waste applications now available in the internet. Nutrition and sustainability. As a result of the pandemic, we have seen an emphasis on nutrition and issues related to sustainability. The pandemic has demonstrated the need for supporting local farmers, for supporting people that locally produce products in order for us to have a more accessible, a more safe, a more cheap, and more diversified food supply. Resilient food systems are critical for minimizing shocks and preventing future disasters. So the COVID-19 pandemic has proved the need for preparing economies and families to withstand economic, health, and climate-related shocks and pressures. Forest resources and biodiversity have provided nutrition and safety nets against shock, seasonal gap filling supplies, and means to wealth. Globally, around 1.6 billion are currently living and rely on forest resources. So by utilizing sustainable strategies, there is a perfect chance to guarantee that the COVID-19 initiatives will engage in a more proactive and more resilient building community, therefore positioning communities and minimizing the loss of lives and livelihood in the future. Some of the food trends that are expected to define the new normal post-COVID-19 are related to the fact that restaurants will have a limited capacity in operation in the future. So we are not expecting to be returning into totally full capacity in restaurants. There will be an increase in chef-driven delivery restaurants. So we'll have more restaurants providing delivery in comparison to what we had before. We will have an increase in vegan and healthy food available from restaurants. So there will be additions in the menu, a variety of options being introduced that are more healthy related, more vegan related. There will be an increase in gourmet street food. So more gourmet food is going to be available also in street markets and available in the center of communities for people to purchase. And there will also be an increase in meat alternatives in the dishes available in restaurants. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic has increased the availability of home chefs. So over the past 2 years, there has been a rise of consumers who we refer to as foodies. Foodies are seen as consumers who are deeply concerned in exploring the world of food. So they are quite concerned with the ingredients they use, the methods that they use. They are concerned about authenticity of dishes. They are interested in cooking and sharing with friends their dishes. So they enjoy eating and as well as preparing good food. The COVID sales continued to alter our diets. Flour has become quite popular during the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as the preparation of pancakes and sausages in our daily meal. Maybe because people had more time available on their hands as they were in the house, and also they had more disposable income due to the fact that they could not travel. We had the introduction of more online cooking classes, so renowned chefs were offering their services through social media. Health and the environment have traditionally been viewed as different issues, but at this point in time, the impacts became increasingly visible in our everyday lives, manifesting via our health and near surroundings. So it is now a reality for everyone, and it is confronting the urgency of an immediate response. Our modern way of life, and particularly what people eat and what they drink, is considered to be damaging the environment and also people's health. However, people are less prone to change their modern lifestyles, as it is quite difficult to change our daily habits. Okay, so there are conflicting demands on an individual's attention in their daily schedule. So the people are more reluctant to change their short-term objectives in comparison to their long-term aims. The new COVID-19, however, signals that are affecting our lives now. What is affecting our lives now may result actually in permanent changes in the future of our society. So we need to realize that we need to make some changes. We need to adjust our lifestyles. Even with such a shock for the environment, it will take a considerable time to alter these processes are expected to set the new normal for the future. Our next topic are macro trends. Macro trends in gastronomy refer to major shifts in consumer behavior in the long term. Micro trends typically last approximately 5 to 10 years. On the contrary, micro trends and consumer behaviors are popular for a shorter period of time, and then they tend to go away. So a micro fashion trend cycle typically will last between 3 to 5 years. Now we can see on this figure the top 5 trends for the agri-food industry in 2021. Our first top trend is health. So consumers will be interested regarding their health. The second top trend is convenience and technology. So they want food which is going to be convenient, and the use of technology is going to be more popular. The third top trend is the alternative use of protein. So instead of using the standard proteins based in meat products. The fourth trend is sustainability and reducing waste. Okay, so finding ways to have reduction in food waste based on the food that we consume, the food that we purchase. And the fifth top trend is related to flavors, experiences, related to authenticity of ingredients and dishes. So the consumers are more interested into utilizing natural ingredients related to food that is perceived as good. It's perceived as beneficiary to the individual as well as to the environment. Is considered as natural and organic. There is a tendency to replace meat products with meat-free vegetarian products, which encourages the use of alternative types of proteins, which is mainly plant-based. And these types of trends are considered to be more environmentally friendly as well as more beneficial to people's health and well-being. Companies are moving towards these trends by introducing products and services that are satisfying these new consumer developments. We've got an example here from a Swiss dairy producer that introduced plant-based yogurt and milk, as well as has used sustainable packaging. Another example is found here from Nestle company, providing tuna that no longer comes from the sea. There is a tendency to reduce sugar consumption in our everyday food intake. There is a tendency to use ingredients which are even new ingredients, especially during the time of the COVID-19 pandemic. Consumers have started experimenting with new ingredients. Consumers are now looking for alternatives in sustainable packaging, in reducing of plastic in the packagings that they are purchasing. They want to see packaging innovation so that they will contribute in this new sustainability movement.